Her secret life, the night I discovered what she was hiding. We were together for 6 years. 6 years of shared meals, vacations, laughter, and what I thought was love. Her name was Emily, and she was everything to me. I thought I knew her better than anyone else in the world. But I was wrong, terrifyingly, heartbreakingly wrong. The first time I noticed something was off was last summer. Emily had always been private about her phone, but it wasn't an issue for me. Everyone needs a little space, right? But one night, I woke up thirsty and went to the kitchen for water. As I passed by the living room, I saw her sitting on the couch, her face lit by her phone screen. She was texting someone, and she looked nervous. Her thumb hovered over the screen before she finally sent the message. When she noticed me, she jumped like a kid caught sneaking cookies. "Couldn't sleep?" I asked. She smiled, but it was forced. "Just texting Sarah. She's going through some stuff." I didn't think much of it at the time. Emily had always been a good friend to people, and Sarah was her best friend. But over the next few weeks, I started noticing other things. She'd go out more often, saying she was meeting Sarah or going to yoga. She'd get home later and later, sometimes not until midnight, claiming her phone died and she didn't want me to worry. It didn't sit right with me, but I didn't want to be the jealous, paranoid boyfriend. So I let it go. But then, one day I saw it, the first real crack in the facade. She left her phone on the counter while she showered, and a notification popped up. It was from someone named M. The message preview read, "Last night was amazing. Can't wait to see you again." My stomach dropped. My heart raced. I told myself it was probably nothing, maybe a coworker or an old friend. But the pit in my stomach wouldn't go away. When she got out of the shower, I asked casually, "Hey, who's M? Got a message from them while you were in there." Her reaction was immediate. Her face went pale and her smile faltered for just a second before she recovered. "Oh, that's just Matt from work. He's in a different department. We had a team dinner last night." Her explanation was so smooth, so casual, that I almost believed her. But the unease lingered. The turning point came 2 weeks later. She told me she was heading to Sarah's for the evening. I pretended to be fine with it, but after she left, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong, so I decided to follow her. I know, it's a terrible thing to do. But my gut was screaming at me, and I couldn't ignore it. I got in my car and trailed her from a safe distance. Instead of driving toward Sarah's apartment, she turned onto a secluded road on the outskirts of town. She pulled into the parking lot of a motel. I watched as she got out of her car and walked inside. My heart was pounding so hard I thought it would burst out of my chest. I waited for a few minutes, debating whether to confront her before deciding to go in. The motel lobby was dingy and smelled of stale cigarettes. The clerk didn't even look up as I walked past him toward the rooms. I didn't know which one she was in, but I could hear faint voices coming from the end of the hall. One of them was hers. I reached the door and hesitated. The voices were muffled, but I could make out bits and pieces. She was laughing. And then, a man's voice, low, smooth, intimate. My blood boiled. I raised my hand to knock, or bang, or kick the door down. I wasn't sure. But before I could, the voices stopped. The door creaked open an inch, as if whoever was inside sensed I was there. What happened next will haunt me forever. The room beyond was dark, but I could see Emily standing just inside, her face half lit by the flickering motel light outside. She wasn't alone. A man stood behind her, his features obscured by the shadows. But something about him was wrong. His proportions were off, his limbs too long, his neck too thin, his head tilted at an unnatural angle. "Babe," Emily said, her voice soft and surprised but not scared. "What are you doing here?" I stared at her, unable to speak. My eyes darted to the man, who stepped closer. His face came into view and my stomach turned. It wasn't a man, it was something else. Its skin was waxy and pale, stretched too tightly over a skull that was all wrong, angular and sharp, like it had been carved from stone. Its eyes were empty sockets, black and endless. "Emily," I whispered, "what is this?" She didn't answer. Instead, she reached out and touched the creature's arm, her fingers brushing over its skin like it was the most natural thing in the world. "You weren't supposed to find out," she said, her tone almost apologetic. "What the hell is going on?" I demanded, backing away. The creature tilted its head, studying me, Its mouth opened, but no sound came out, just a low, guttural vibration that made the walls tremble. Emily stepped closer, her expression soft and sad. "I didn't mean for this to happen," she said, "but it's too late now." The last thing I remember is the creature lunging at me, its limbs stretching impossibly far, its cold, clawed hands grabbing my shoulders. I blacked out. When I woke up, I was in my car, parked outside my house. My phone was buzzing in the cup holder. It was a text from Emily. "I'm sorry, don't come looking for me." I tried calling her, but her number was disconnected. I drove back to the motel, but it was gone. The lot where it had stood was empty, overgrown with weeds as if no one had been there in years. It's been months now. I don't know what happened that night or what that thing was, but sometimes late at night I see shadows moving outside my window. And when I close my eyes, I hear Emily's voice whispering, "You weren't supposed to find out."